This is the dopamine kata. Fresh dopamine.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? So today, I am taking out my buddy's DRZ400. Let's turn it on. Starts right up. Alright, I'm going to do a review slash maybe slightly comparison. I have the DR650. Same year, same color scheme. Except I have the big brother, I guess you could say, to the DRZ400. This is about the most off-road I'm going to do with it. I have ridden this off-road once or twice before at various times, but this is the most off-road I'm going to do with it because my buddy, I failed to ask permission to go off-road with it, so I'm just going to stay on road and talk about it. With the exception of the case savers and moving the shift lever forward, this bike has virtually no modifications done to it. Well, it's got better tires on it too, so it does have that. So other than that, this thing is bone stock. So I'll tell you, pretty much right off the bat, when it came to getting the DR650 or the DRZ400, there was a few factors that kept me from getting the DRZ400 here. One of the factors that kept me from getting the DRZ400 was it's a smaller bike. Not necessarily less power, you know, especially for off-roading, but it's a smaller, lighter bike, and I'm a bigger guy. So for me, it made sense to have at least the feel of something bigger underneath me to support me. It just gave me comfort. Not necessarily that it matters, but for me, it did matter, subjectively speaking. Acceleration on this bike is exactly what you would expect. Not great at the high end, but decent at the low end. It's a torquey little bastard, that is for sure. I do really enjoy the cluster, the gauge cluster up here compared to the DR650. Now I know I can get those vapor units or whatever they're called for the DR650, but this stock has something that's, in my opinion, pretty decent. On my DR650, I just have a round little, you know, old school $10 Speedo, and that's about it. And it's not the greatest thing in the world. Another thing that the DRZ has that I like is the forks. The forks are inverted forks, and they're just way better off-road, especially if you want to trick them out. They're just so much better than the DR650 forks. I am going to go slightly off-road. I'm going to go off-road on these canals, just not the mountains. I don't think he would mind if I went up the canals. I mean, yeah, this definitely has some wheel spin in the dirt if you want to floor it, which means it's got a nice amount of torque. I don't remember what the DR650 sounded like stock as far as the muffler is concerned. Shit. But I almost feel like this has a pretty decent sound stock. I upgraded the muffler on my DR650 a long time ago, but the DRZ seems to have a pretty good sound. Another thing I like the DR650 for is the wider rear, the wider seat. The 650 definitely has a wider seat, and for a bigger guy, that means a lot for me. I guess that correlates with it. Just feels like there's more under me, like I said before. And the flickability is pretty good. Even with these dirt tires on it, I couldn't imagine putting on some supermoto tires. I mean, I know they make the DRZ SM edition, which comes stock with supermoto tires, but I like my dual sports for fun in the dirt. I have a street bike for street use, so I guess I could get supermoto tires even for the 650 like Motard Steve has, but I just would think changing them back and forth would be a pain in the ass. So another thing I didn't like about the DRZ400 is a small gas tank. I mean, the gas tank is incredibly small. I guess all dual sport motorcycles have pretty small gas tanks, but the DR650 has a little larger tank, which made it kind of worth it for me, especially since I plan in the future, once I get the bike modded out all the way, to do some pretty awesome adventures. At least I hope to. All dual sports are fun for that reason. That reason right there. It's the simple things that make dual sports pretty awesome, as well as the going up in the mountains off-road, popping wheelies, and being just a relatively cheap bike. I mean, compared to other motorcycles out there, you know, especially compared to my Super Sport or a Harley or something, they're just a cheap bike. It doesn't matter if you drop it, beat it up, do whatever, because it's pretty cheap, and it's kind of cheap to work on, and it's easy to work on because it's a simple motor. If you guys want to see my review of the DR650, you can click somewhere on the screen. There'll be a card or something that's going to pop up. But I did a full review of that bike. Now, it's one of my older videos, and my talking is a little more slowed down. I was a little nervous and stuff, and you'll see that in the comments, people hating on that. But it's a pretty decent video, I think. And even the people that hate my speech say it's a pretty decent review overall. One of the things that really is great about the DRZ400, it is not air-cooled. The DR650 is an air-cooled motorcycle, and yeah, it's just not, you know, up to, you know, state-of-the-art standards. I guess that's why they can keep it a little cheaper than this bike. Actually, it's like a couple $100 cheaper than this bike, so they're you know, similarly priced. But yeah, just this thing is liquid cooled, and I live in the desert, you know what I mean? And right now, I think today it's like 104 degrees out, so having a liquid cooled bike is definitely a plus, and I wish I would have taken more time to consider that when buying the DR650 versus the DRZ400. If I could go back and everything else was remain the same, except I have a liquid cooled on this one and air cooled on the other one, I think I would definitely take the liquid cooled living where I live. Now, if you're in northern climates where it's rare that it hits 100 degrees or whatever, then Yeah, go with the air. If it comes down to just between liquid and air cooled, I would go with liquid cooled. Now I don't know if it's because it's a 650, or I don't know if it's because I've modded the air box, air filter, and muffler and header and power bomb system, but I definitely feel like this has a harder time going around cars and picking up speed and just getting me around faster and safer. The DR650 definitely feels like, hands down, it's faster on the higher end. And speaking about the higher end, that's pretty much the number one thing that sold me on the DR650, was just being able to take this stock onto the freeway stock, and not have to press the RPMs, you know, too hard. You could, it's rather comfortable on the freeway. This guy, he's light, he gets blown around, seat's a little narrower, you know, just there's a few things when it comes to the DRZ400 that kept me from buying it. But I'll tell you right now, if I could afford both of those bikes, the DR650 and the DRZ400, I would have. I would have probably turned the DR650 into a supermoto style bike, and I would leave this one for off-road, because off-road, this bike has it hands down in my opinion. It's lightweight, it's you know, highly customizable. Front suspension, front forks is way better. It's a torquey little bastard where you need it to be, and because of the lightweightness, you're not going to sink in those spots you need grip in, and you know, you can climb and do everything else. Now, that's not to say there aren't people out there good enough to beat me if I have this bike and they have the 650 and we're off-road. It's just a comment from the average rider to another average rider that this guy would be better off-road. I mean, look at Everride, you know what I mean? We don't see really any other motorcyclists out there with the DR650 doing what Everride does with the DRZ400. There is a guy doing incredible things with the DR650, and his name is, forgive me, man, if I mispronounce it, but his name is Brantagon, and I'll put his link in the description to his channel. You should definitely check out his shit. He does some amazing off-road rides in Oregon and Washington, northwestern area. He is a certified, genuine DR650 badass. Listen, guys, I know I've been making a comparison video, and I chose my bike for a reason. I understand that this video is a little biased, and it's biased because I ended up wanting the DR650 over the DRZ400. But I'm telling you right now, just riding this bike the few times I have, and the fact that I wanted to jump on this bike and make a video is a testament to how fun this bike really is. And you know, if I weighed a little less and was a little smaller of a guy, this bike would have done it for me. Really, it just came down to my size, man. I'm a big dude. I really am a big guy, and the DR650 just felt better underneath me. But this bike right here is fun. I'm not even shitting you. It is a blast to ride. I wish I could do a little more off-road stuff. My buddy's at work in a meeting, and I'm not going to bug him at work in a meeting to see if I can't go and climb a hill real quick. But I'm telling you, this bike has no problem climbing hills. I've done it for him. I've been riding a little longer than him, and there's been some points out there in the mountains on the trails that early on when he first started riding, he didn't feel comfortable taking a certain hill. He didn't feel comfortable going down a certain hill. And I jumped on this thing. Excuse me. I jumped on this thing and went up and down those with no problem. And in fact, I could feel the difference of those hills with this bike for sure. This bike is better. It's less squirrely going up those things, and you feel like you can control it more. If something was to happen, you kick out a rock, the bike breaks loose from underneath of you. It gives the appearance or the sensation that it's a little easier to regain control. I don't know if that's true. Like I said, there are great riders out there. I mentioned two of them that ride the DR650 and some crazy extreme shit. So this bike though is fun. Now what can I say about Suzuki? I like Suzuki. I got a Suzuki DR650. I love this bike right here, Suzuki DR650. I have a Suzuki GSXR1000. Great company, great financing options if your credit's decent. On my DR650, when I bought that, I got 0.5% financing, and on my GSXR, I got 0% financing, so it's pretty much same as cash. So those are really great options. A lot of people buy these bikes because they are affordable, and they're just good bikes. Suzuki's been making these bikes for quite a while. I'm going 76 miles, 77, 78, 79, 80. Alright, I'm not going to take it much faster than that. He has some pretty killer off-road tires on here, and I don't know if you could tell, but it was doing this, you know, when I was at that speed. The point is, this bike is fast enough to ride on the freeway. It just doesn't feel right going that fast on this bike with these tires. But yeah, the RPMs are really high though, and I you know, you don't want to do that for too long. That could reap some serious consequences. That's ultimately why I have the DR650. Would I recommend this bike to anybody? Yeah, I'd recommend this bike to everybody, even somebody my size. I've been driving it around now for about an hour, and you know, it's pretty awesome. Definitely recommend this bike. You know, this will take me home. Oh yeah, these knobbies feel right at home on the dirt. I feel more stable now on this going the speed I was. Woo-hoo-hoo! I popped that front end up a little bit on that jump. Yeah, these knobbies feel a lot more comfortable on dirt than they do on the street. I can see why he doesn't take it fast when I'm trying to go all fast. These are definitely like 70 or 80% off-road tires. One last thing about this bike, the pegs are really skinny, man. For off-road use, you definitely, for standing up and stuff, you're definitely gonna want to get different pegs. These pegs are really skinny. I feel super uncomfortable standing up on this. Alright guys, so that was my somewhat review comparison DRZ400, and overall I love it. Recommend it. Buy it. Get it. Have fun. If you're thinking about it, stop thinking. Do it. It is fun. Anyways guys, that's all I got today. If you like this video, please show your support by giving me a thumbs up. If you want to tell me something or ask me a question, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment description down below. And if you like my channel and click on any of these other links to go and view some of my other videos, go ahead and subscribe. Alright guys, this is Voyage to Nowhere saying peace.
Didn't even get to bronze.